I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. We're going to play some Entropia Universe and do a vlog. This should be number 11. Go ahead and switch over to what you see here. I'm actually in the process of gathering some fruit. You can see I've got a little bit of it already. I want to talk real quick while I both did some active playing of the game, and you can watch a 50 ped hunt I did above, and it should be to the right of this video. I want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing with the channel. So, I'm going to be doing a lot of shout outs with different channels. You know, I guess I'll start with this shout out with this person. Um, when I first started playing, or before I even started playing Entropia Universe, I originally saw a commercial that was done by a person who I didn't realize at the time, but it was Serial Overdrive. And that got me watching it, and I checked it out, and I was at work, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll probably get into this and that type of stuff. And then I got watching other people, and I've learned a lot, both in what I want to do and what I don't want to do, and the type of channel I want to be based off of this. And I'm going to really say where this one falls, um, because there are certainly some things about this person that I think are very beneficial. But I don't necessarily agree with all of it, and I'm going to leave that kind of gray. But um, one of the people that kind of made me who I am and makes me understand the game and look at the game the way I have so far is a fairly divisive person. Um, that person is Stevie B with EarnPed.com. What I can say is that he puts a lot of time into his videos, and he apparently has a lot of personal stuff going on in his life. And I don't wish ill on anyone, and I certainly wish him a speedy recovery to whatever is going on. And I hope no one's getting hurt in the process. Oops, there we go. Make sure there's not a second one around here. There's not. Some Bombardo. What is that for these real small drops? It's super annoying. Anyways, so I have looked at a lot of his stuff and seen how, and listened to what he's had to say about a few things, and he definitely has probably a different perspective on a technical level of the game and all that type of stuff than a lot of people that play this game and talk about it. You have to get past all the behavioral stuff, which I don't know if it's as much of a stick for him, like Marilyn Manson being all into the dark stuff, or if it's, him. I don't know. I don't know the guy, obviously. But, that's kind of a thing that has worked for him so far. I don't know how far or how long it'll work, but I want to encourage you with an open mind to go watch some of his videos, because there are certainly videos he has put out that would help people. But you have to go in there realizing what it is. And you have to ignore all the chaff, all the extra stuff that's going on with it. Because I'm not a huge fan of people doing some of the stuff that he's doing. And I'm not into the ad portion where you go do that. And frankly, the last couple of videos, I haven't heard him do it. So I know he's talked about paying people that are pulling dividends and all these, whatever exactly the terminology he's using is, but I haven't heard him like pushing to get people to be a part of it. So I don't know where it is in the process of things. But I'm okay either way. I don't need to be invested in that. So, and he probably will never see this because I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch as much video as he puts out. I think a lot of his stuff is original, which is why I recommend you see it, because no one else is going to have his perspective. Oh, other people have his perspective, but I don't know if he has other people's perspective, if that makes sense. Okay, but enough about Stevie B. So, I want to talk real quickly about BX Dungeons and Dragons. It's something I've been talking a little bit. I've been talking about D&D ever since the beginning of the channel. But BX D&D is sort of a little bit new. I tried to do a founder series, and I'm going to get that done. But I'm only doing these videos once. They're going to be purely informational. They're going to be most of the people, unfortunately, on that list have died. They don't exist anymore. So it's not like you're going to have anything new come out about them, you know. But like founders that I would want to talk about in great depth would be like Gary Gygax, Dave Arneson, Don Kay, you know, Tom Mulvey, you know, those type of people, the people that really shaped that. But they're not the only one. You get the general idea. Most of the people that would be considered founders have passed away. Even people that aren't in the gaming world, but that have a lot to say about, like H.G. Wells, wrote a book called Little Wars. That book is very fundamental to a lot of people who played miniature games. It got Games Workshop was based a lot on that, frankly. When I read that book, there's a lot of similarities between Games Workshop and that. You know, Gerald Tolkien would be for sure a person that many people wrote games for or against. If you listen to what Gygax said back in the day, that it was almost annoying the amount of people that wanted to play like the Legolas's and the Frodo Baggins and all that, Samwise Gamgee and all that. You know, it was almost, so they actually wrote certain stuff down and had other things in and that type of stuff. And that to me is interesting. And I think that a one-time video for each one of those that kind of talks about this aspect or this thing or what they did with this is important. I also think that doing a breakdown of what original Dungeons and Dragons was like, and you know, something more than the half dozen videos that are out there, and there's probably 4 to 6 that I've found that are on the topic, and I've wanted to do this video for probably 3 years, but I haven't done it. Is that something or is that nothing? I think that was just a piece of, sometimes graphics come in and out and it makes it look like something. Anyways, but I haven't done it yet because it's important. It's so important to me. I don't want to do it wrong. You know, another video I've wanted to do for a long time, and I had the video shot at one point in time, and my hard drive failed, and I lost over half the video. And I was in the middle of the editing process, and I was trying to find a way to do like B-roll film or a lot of art to do that. I had actually approached about 2 years ago artists to do characteristic drawings for that video, and I wanted to be able to do the founder series with this art of the actual founders instead of pulling off the internet like actual photos or whatever. I wanted to have like a representation of a photo that someone drew of that person, you know, to make it less likely to be, you know, canceled later on. They're not canceled, but cancel's got the wrong tone to what I'm trying to say, like get flagged or whatever, you know, that type of stuff. So you know, when I lost that, I just kind of put a pin in that and stopped. Now I'm probably going to go back to it eventually. In like the first 5 or 6 BX videos, I look back and I find errors in what I've said and what I was trying to say, and I left out things. And I feel like those videos could be done better. And I knew that going in, that I could probably do those videos again, but I felt like instead of waiting 2 or 3 years for this to actually happen, I needed to go ahead and do the videos, release it, and then if I didn't like it afterwards, I could go ahead and remake the video and then, you know, unlist the other one so that I don't lose the fact that they're not there anymore, like, you know, deleting them. But at least at least I'll have a better version of what I was trying to say there. And one of the things that I talked with a couple people, sort of in this niche, And one of the things that they were saying is maybe, do a timestamp and do like a series of like 5-minute videos all put together, all, that type of stuff. And then, people can jump around as they need to. Or try and release videos 5 minutes long or so on each topic. But sometimes you lose context when you try and jump from one to the other and you don't have everything in between. So that's why I'm thinking about the single video. Another part of it is I don't want to talk about the fact that it's a game that came out in 1981 and that few people play it, because that's not important. I think anyone can find games that are that way that people find very enjoyable. But I don't. It feels more like a funeral. What I want to celebrate is what it does right, what is good, and how if people gave it a chance, they might actually enjoy what's going on here more than some of the other stuff that you get people so wrapped up and tied up in now with the newer editions. I'll go to D&D, or I'll go to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, when they started to get into like more rule specific, like we're going to get more rules and take it out of the hands of the dungeon master, and we're going to go ahead and come up with stuff and make it and codify it. We're going to codify all these things so that it's that way. And AD&D 1 first edition was a little bit that way, and it was sort of the hybrid of all this, but it had some stuff in there that some people were really a big fan of. And, with the heavens and hells and that type of stuff, it's where they first started to introduce demons and devils and angels and like gods being real and that type of stuff. And you could actually go and kill the gods and that type of, in actually, technically that came out prior to that. But this was a big thing back then. And, during this whole time, there was a Satanic Panic, which is also another video I probably need to run on. Because that's an aspect or a period of time that games in general went through a big thing. Imagine the first-person shooters and what they're going through now with the, supposedly being linked to violence in schools and all those type of things. It's the same type of thing back in the day with that. Now, I don't know if the fact that I've talked about those two topics in such a short period of time is going to get me flagged by YouTube. I hope not. But I guess that's a good test. But essentially, that is kind of the direction I want to go. I want to do those videos once and do it right, and there'll be like a historical record type of thing. If that makes sense. It's been a long time talking about this. If you're not into this type of stuff, this could be way too long. And I apologize. Skip forward a little bit, and I'll get to some Entropia universe here very shortly. I want to talk real quickly about Fantasy Grounds. Fantasy Grounds is the platform in which I'm doing all my digital D&D stuff. Since I'm doing an older version of D&D, a lot of people aren't covering how to do that. And because I would like to grow this into a bigger thing, like I would like to grow Entropia universe into a bigger community, I feel like this is an important key or thing that we would like to have. Oops, there we go. Look around real quick, make sure there's not anything else around it. But that's something we're going to be doing a lot of. And I did one video of it, and it's been well received. And I picked up 3 subscribers from it. And frankly, that is amazing. I've had very few videos that have done both that many views and picked up 3 subscribers. And I don't know if they picked up for that or they picked up for other things. Or maybe it's finally the stuff from BX catching up to actually being beneficial. But it's something that's important. I've done a lot of videos and I've struggled for a long time, and I could use a few wins. So I think I'll lean into it a little bit, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm going to be doing videos on that occasionally too. This won't interrupt my Saturday videos, which is this one's going to be late. So I want to talk real briefly. Okay, so I had three things I want to talk about with Entropia Universe. The first one was I cannot wait until I get a amplifier for my Bukin, Adjusted Bukin. So right now, I think my max damage is 6.5. My minimum damage is 4.5 or something like that. So I can get a Type 1 amplifier, which is like 1 to 2 points of damage, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that that's like 1/3 of my max damage improvement. Let me come over here real quick so we can pull it up while I'm running. Excuse me. So it says my damage per second is 5.1. I think that's an average. I come down here, so it's 6 and 1 point of penetration. So it's 3.5 to 7. So I can get a 1.75 bonus to damage, which would take that almost to 8 points of damage, which is pretty, like 30 plus ped of ammo. Love that. If you knew how much hunting I did and how much I actually have, that's pretty impressive. I had some really good luck on some of my hunts. Anyways, so that's going to unlock new things for me to be able to shoot and hunt. Also, new loot that potentially could drop. I'm interested to see when I'm hunting these low-level creatures, if I use a scope and it causes me more decay, that should increase what loot I find. And I'm interested to find out between that and a slight bit better efficiency. So right now my efficiency is 57.3. A scope is 60. So a 32 ped scope on top of a 10. There we go. A 10.5 ped gun. You know, I'm probably going to be pushing a point, maybe a little less, of 1.6 or 0.6. That's nice. I got a good amount of that now. The Karut. But I'm going to be pushing, close to like 58.5, 59 on the efficiency. That would be interesting to me to see if that has any difference. And I probably won't be able to tell the difference because what it's also doing is also increasing the amount of decay I have. And that decay is going to make it so that more can be... Okay, I believe that when you kill a creature, there's a base multiplier that is there. And we'll go ahead and call that multiplier X. X is a variable number, so it could be point times 0.00003, or it could be 50. We don't know what this number could be. I think that's why there's such a wide range of globals and that type of stuff that you find. I think what happens is that multiplier is then applied to the amount of decay or the value of the creature. Now I'm going to put the creature's loot based on a miscellaneous factor that is unknown that could be specific to that creature or other creatures. So two creatures of the same type could have the same miscellaneous bonus, or maybe there's a variance in the miscellaneous bonus too, which makes it further hard to track. But for sure, there would be a difference between menorahs and hornets because they have different loot. So they have to have the ability to reach different loot, or because they have different loot, certain things will fall more than others. Okay? But when I get the scope is going to take me from a 0.01 decay cost to a 0.02 approximately. If that is the case, then just having that scope could literally double what I get from these creatures. It's going to also double my cost of what I have to repair things. But when those explosions happen, I may actually reach into the global. And maybe there's a hidden bonus in globals that once you've ding, that global, it gives you that little burst extra. Or maybe at certain levels you get that burst extra. These are all just theoretical. Anyway, this is about to come to an end. So last thing I want to talk about, I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but I want to talk a little bit more about extenders. I don't actually have extenders, but I was doing some more thought process on extenders. If your extenders are any sort of markup, any weapon or armor you attach it to has to have more of a markup. It should be limited, because if you can repair it, there is no markup. So it has to be a limited, and it needs to be something with a higher markup than the extender you're putting on it, because it does you no good to extend an item from going away unless you're trying to reach a certain level of that tier or whatever, if it costs more to buy the extender and put it on, unless that extender is also a unlimited item, which they do exist, I've been told. And if that's the case, then all you're paying for once you purchased it is the repair cost. So any markup would be better than that. So that puts a huge emphasis on both having unlimited extenders, which are going to be stupid expensive. I mean, really dumb. Probably not worth it in the next 5 years, but eventually you would actually maybe turn a profit depending on how much you use it. Or unless you actually have a really super high markup item that's limited. And it needs to be limited, not an unlimited super high markup item. Anyway, so I'm still getting over what I got. I hope those few points helped. Thank you for going this far. If you've made it this far, I apologize for going a little bit long on this, as you can see. But, I think it's important to discuss these things every now and then. As you saw with the video there, this 50 ped hunt, I was only down like just under 2 ped worth of stuff, and certainly markup would make that up. So, yeah, you definitely have every now and then some really good runs, and that's off of menorahs. A lot of skills, lots of stuff to sell. Certainly made money on that if you count the markup. So continue to hunt that markup. It's the way to go. Continue to look for things like fruit, as you see here with me, because that's the way to go. I sold a bunch of fruit, and I learned something. One last little tidbit. Sorry, I'm way late now on this. I sold a bunch of fruit on Arcadia. Sold too much of it at once because I was just curious, and I wanted to build up a nice chunk, which you can see here. I've got 7.65 still left. But they sold for at least 2 ped a piece. Some of them are 3 ped, and the Burkite stone, like the one I have right here, that sold for 4 ped. So yeah, this stuff is like legit for real. And I'm still saving my sweet stuff until I get enough to do 1,000, which is 10 ped. And then I'll put on the auction hall 10 ped worth of sweet stuff, which will be a nice little chunk, because I think it's like 136% on that. And you never know, that could be a lot. Or I might try and level my ped up more. I don't know. Depends on where I am at that point in time. I still got my dog. Let me go ahead and summon him real quick. He's very hungry. He hasn't eaten in a while. And he's not very, he's very sad, I should say. Very, very sad. But he's 13% into level 4. So eventually he'll be level 7 or 8 when he gets the actual ability I want to use, and I'll have a crisis decision to figure out if I'm going to use him while I capture more of these things and build up more skill and maybe go down that road, or whether I decide to sell him to someone who will do that. I guess I'll have to look at the market and what people are willing to do with that. But I can tell you I put more into him than I think people are going to be willing. Also, at some point in time, I need to I need to do a video talking about that, because I learned some stuff on the first 10 pad worth of food I put into him. And I think that's something that a lot of people would like to know about. But anyways, I'll save that for a different video. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Make sure you check out my older stuff. There's a lot of really good stuff there. And keep earning that pad. Bye.